Hey everybody, it's Dave here. Welcome to our weekly team call. As you guys know, what I've been doing lately is swapping team calls with a bunch of elite coaches, and that's what we're doing today. And so super excited to have Priscilla Ashleigh join us today. She is a 7-star in her first center and a 2-star in her second center, which is where the big bucks really start. You got that third center open, right?
Yes, I do.
There you go. That's where the big bucks really start rolling in, when you open multiple business centers and are able to sort of stack those on top of each other. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, please get in touch with me. I'll explain it. 2-time elite coach, a whopping 65 months in Success Club. I think she was just telling me that it's been since her second month in the business, which is, I don't even have that kind of a streak, which is fantastic. So congratulations on that. And like with all our calls, really, I always want to focus on the story, and just get your story and get to know you a little bit better and let everybody from our team get to know you. So I'll just kind of shut up now and let's tell us your story.
Okay. Well, like you said, I've been a coach since 2010, and like most of us, I started out with one of our fitness programs, and back then I was just posting my workouts on my P90X workouts on Facebook, and I was approached by my coach, and she reached out to me and asked me if I was a coach, and I had no idea what a coach was. Like most of us, what does that mean, And a little backstory: I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom since my son was born, and my son is going to be 18 this year. Wow. So yeah, I've been a stay-at-home mom since he was born. And at that time, my husband had actually told me, I think it's time that you start looking for a part-time job and maybe, start making a little bit of your own money. And I didn't really want to go out and get a job. I wanted to be home with my kids. And I'm sure a lot of you moms can appreciate that. I didn't want somebody else raising my kids or taking them to their events, or, like my daughter at the time was so cute. She was playing, softball, and I didn't want someone else taking her to those. If I have to work, I wanted to find something to do that I could be home with my kids. So when this was actually brought up to me and thrown in my lap, I was like, well, maybe this thing could actually work, because I liked working out. I had always gone to the gym, before Beachbody. I'd always been like that girl who went to work out at the gym with my other mommy friends, had fun, just working out with other people and just having fun there. But like a lot of us, I didn't get the results at the gym. So when I was doing P90X, I was getting good results with P90X, and then someone noticed and then introduced the business to me. So another side story to that is I actually didn't tell my husband that I was signing up right away. I know Dave's laughing at me.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. Go ahead.
I didn't tell him right away because I had actually tried things in the past. I had tried Herbalife in my 20s, and it didn't work for me. Yeah. I had somebody try to have me sell like the candles, the candlelight or whatever, and I didn't like that. It didn't work for me. I'm not a home party girl. I didn't like that kind of thing. So I wanted to see if I could make this thing work before I told him anything. So actually, I signed up 2 people pretty fast, and then I had to start doing the trainings, and I was like, well, I better tell my husband what I'm doing. So he actually kind of laughed at me when I told him I signed up to be a Beachbody coach. Remember, you told me I needed to make some money, so I became a Beachbody coach. And he said, well, you're never going to make any money doing that. He goes, I guarantee within 6 months, you're not going to make any money doing this, and you're going to end up quitting, and you're going to have spent way too much money doing this business, and you're going to make 0. And so I looked at him and I said, really? Then watch me. I'm going to succeed at this. And so him telling me that I wasn't going to succeed at this made me push myself that much harder to want to succeed at this. So that's kind of my story of how I got started as a coach back then.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I know you've heard me tell my story of when, you know, Monica got involved, and she did actually tell me that she was going to become a coach, and that she was going to the founders meeting. And I said the same thing. I mean, I had like literally the same reaction as your husband, just, well, you know, whatever, I don't, you know, fine. But, you know, you've got 6 months to make it work. And if in 6 months we've got a garage full of P90Xs and recovery formula tubs, you know, we're not going to do this, because nobody makes any money in these businesses, and nobody ever has any level of success in these businesses, because it's all a bunch of hocus pocus. And yeah, I remember going out to dinner with Jeff Ratterman, Lee's husband, and Lee was there, and we had some guys from corporate. I think David Martin and Chris Simonian were there, a couple old school corporate guys, and still when Chris was still with corporate anyway. And I remember just going, oh, this is just never going to work. This is the silliest thing ever. And part of it, I think, for me, was that we didn't have Shakeology at the time. You know, all we had was P90X and recovery formula. This was like early 2007. And without some sort of a consumable product, the business model just didn't make a lot of sense to me. But once we had a consumable product, and, you know, by the time you became a coach in 2010, I was, you know, in with both feet. So initially, so you're working out, doing P90X, found a coach. You know, when she started to talk to you about the business opportunity, what was your reaction initially? I mean, you kind of said you'd been involved with some other companies before and hadn't really had anything click. You know, once you sort of understood what we do as coaches, how did you react to that?
Well, I mean, of course, at first I was nervous, because I had tried things in the past that didn't work. But once I really thought about it, because I love working out, I love helping people anyway. That's what I was doing at the gym. I always had other moms coming up to me and saying, oh, you're doing this exercise. I see that it works for you. Like, what, you know, can you show me how to do it? I thought I could actually integrate this business with what I'm doing already, and I can make money doing it. So why not? I started to get excited about it, but I didn't say yes right away. It took me probably a month before I said yes to her. But the way that I actually knew that it was right for me is I would go to bed at night and I was excited about it. Like, I was excited and I would think about it. And so finally, I think it was a little bit after Christmas, I called her and I said, okay, I'm ready. On this day, I'm going to sign up. And that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah. So was it a New Year's resolution thing, or?
Yeah, I think it was more like, let's get through Christmas and get Christmas behind us, and then we'll just get started, you know, after the holidays type thing. Because that's the other thing, you guys, you know, we all get stressed out around the holidays, and we're like, we're not signing anybody up. What's going on? And that, I look back at myself, that's why people aren't thinking about joining as a coach around the holidays, you know. You know, for me, even back then, it was like, okay, I can make a couple, $300, $400, $500 a month. And over time, I mean, this has grown into a 6-figure income for me, which I never thought that it could. And unlike you, I don't have a college degree. So it's pretty amazing to me that if you guys are consistent in your business building activities, that you can actually build this into something huge. But you have to be consistent in it.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I mean, let's talk. I'll talk just really quickly about the cyclical nature. I was talking to my grandfather. I had dinner with them last Thursday or something. Anyway, and he always thinks it's crazy that my business is so cyclical, and I think it's awesome, actually, because you have a really predictable times when things are going to be busy and when things are going to be slow. You know, and I know that. You know, in January, it's going to be busy. February, it's going to be busy. Through March, it slows down a little bit as people go on spring break and the basketball tournament and all that stuff that happens. And then it picks right back up again as people want to get ready for summer. And then summer, it slows down a little bit during the summertime. And then it gets stronger when the kids go back to school. Right now, actually, is usually a really strong time in our business. And then it'll slow down between Halloween and Thanksgiving, and then pick up after Thanksgiving, because we always have a product release. There's something that comes out that that pushes things forward. And then that creates a bunch of customers, and guess what they do in January? Well, a lot of them become coaches just like you did. So yeah, that whole cyclical nature of things is, you know, you can pretty much count on it. And the other thing that you said that I think is really true is that, you know, you can't not work during those time periods. I know it's not going to be as busy, which means I'm going to have to work a little bit harder to make things happen. I'm going to have to talk to more people. You know, in January, you kind of just get in the way, and people run into you and want your help. This is the time of year where we have to, you know, grind a little bit more and be a little bit more focused. And it's not a time of year where I think if you want to build a business that is, you know, multiple time elite coach type of business, or, you know, something where you're making six figures and something that, you know, is a really significant source of income for you and your family, you know, you do have to be consistent, even in the times when it's slow. You know, those are the people who really make it in this business. They're the people who work when it's not easy, you know, and focus on the hard things. So I was going to ask, one of the things you said earlier was that, you know, when you started, you were kind of afraid, you know, and tentative and concerned about it, but excited, right? Mm-hmm. So how did you kind of get over that fear? I mean, was it just purely the excitement, or did you have to get out there and do it, or kind of what was it for you that pushed you there?
I think I just had to do it. I don't think there was really anything that you can tell somebody to get over the fear. You really have to just do it. And I honestly, also when I went to my first event, was a big deal. Back then, do you remember the first game plan event?
Absolutely.
In Orange County? Yep. That was my very first event.
Oh, wow.
And that was big. That was like a big deal, right? And that was a game changer for me and a lot of people, I'm sure. I think I went diamond like the week after that event. Wow. But yeah, so events are huge. And if you haven't been to an event, I highly recommend you get your butts to an event. And I don't care if you have to drive an hour or even 2 hours to get to one, you need to get to events no matter what. You know, I could very easily lead a Super Saturday here in my town, but I feel like it's dark in here. Is it too dark?
Good? It got darker right there for some reason. I don't know what's going on, but I think you're all right.
Rain here. I could very easily host an event here in my town, but I co-host with people in Huntington Beach, which is about 45 minutes to an hour from here. And my team, they follow me. We all go to Huntington Beach, and we have a big, huge, you guys have probably seen it, the Orange County Super Saturdays. We have a big, huge Super Saturday event there. So that's what we do. Now, if you have to drive an hour or two, go, because it's a big deal to get to events. And you know, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think events are really key. You know, it's interesting. I hear a lot of people, you know, who have, you know, maybe they're skeptical. I was a big skeptic. And, you know, a lot of people are afraid, or, you know, whatever, have some fears that, you know, maybe this thing isn't legit, or maybe this thing is not for them, or maybe, you know, maybe their husbands are right and that they're not going to be successful in this business, or, you know, all those voices that come at us from everywhere. I mean, you know, when I started doing this, I had, you know, people who I really deeply respected. The first guy that I worked with, that I practiced law with, you know, who called me and said, don't do this. You're making a huge mistake. And, you know, especially those really loud voices can be really powerful. And, you know, I know for me, it was the first summit I went to, which was in 2009. And I've had a lot of people on my team, Ryan Chapman, for those of you guys who know, Ryan and his huge team of people. You know, Ryan was the same way. It was the first summit that he went to where he got to see a bigger picture of who we are and what we do. And I know, you know, for him anyway, without telling his story too much, you know, what he told me was that, you know, I always believed that what you were telling me was true. And I always believed that, you know, when you said, hey, this is what we're all about, I believed that that was true, but I only believed it was true on our team. I did not believe that everybody in the company was on the same page with where we're going. You know, I really thought that it was just you and that you were doing this. And so going to Summit for him was a huge game changer. I know for me, between Summit and the first, it wasn't called the Success Club trip at the time, but it's basically what we call the Success Club trip now. And we went to Hawaii, and I got to meet people who had left all kinds of jobs to do this. School teachers, firefighters, military, accountants, an architect. I mean, people had left all kinds of jobs to come and do this full time. And I was just blown away. I was just blown away. And I was like, oh, I could actually do that. And I do think that events are an incredible source of motivation. You know, here in San Diego, we, band together and we do big Super Saturday events too. And, it's awesome. They're great. And they're, kind of my favorite thing actually, aside from the leadership retreat, which we have coming up in a couple of weeks, which is it's like right over there. It's like you're in my backyard, which is going to be really awesome. But I know events are really a huge thing as far as, overcoming fears and just getting to know the company better. I think that's, it's not just events. There's lots of different ways you can tap into what's going on and the culture of your team and the culture of the company as a whole. But the more you can get closer to it, really the better it is.
So speaking of events, October 17th is our next Super Saturday.
There you go.
Speaking about that, we might as well throw that out there.
Yep, that's right. And are you guys going to be in Huntington with the Welties?
Yes, that's who I usually co-host with them.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yes, that's right. October 17th coming right up around the corner. Super Saturday. I'm not sure how I could forget about that since I'm on a local market council here. And we just had a conference call about it not too long ago, which is really fun. Do you guys do other stuff too? Or do you guys do other events aside from Super Saturday?
Well, because Judd and I are on the market council as well, and so we're talking about doing a kind of like a monthly mastermind training group where we get local coaches together and do that. We've been talking about it for about 6 months now, so we need to do it. It's just getting us all together and nailing down a day and a time and getting it finished. But I think that would be something good to do too, just to kind of get people in our area, get them more band together too.
Yeah, it's been really cool. When Jamie Shepard was in charge of the market council, she set up a bunch of stuff that people do every month. I do. So the last Thursday of every month, we have a little training, and it's usually pretty intimate. It's about 20, 25 people. It's not like a big thing. And we'll have a topic. Sometimes I do the training. Sometimes I'll pull from, someone local. And then what I'm going to start doing is bringing people in on Google Hangouts, from out of town, all the, just people I know from everywhere. And it's cool. It's nice little coach training. We're, again, we're working with a smaller group of people, so it's a little bit more intimate. But they do coach night out once a month. So we all go to a restaurant somewhere. Seems like I haven't made coach night out for a while. But they do dinners together, hikes every Sunday. There's a bunch of people who go hiking together, and it's awesome. I think the more that you can kind of bond that community together, really the better, it is, because it is a really cool group of people. I think that's really the one thing that I have found more than anything else here is that it's just a fantastic group of people. I was really surprised about that. Jimmy and I talk about this a lot because, he got involved with the business because he wanted a community of people. That's what he was looking for. He was looking for, he's kind of that, social and, he needed that. Yeah. Right. He needed that social network of people around him and as a support network for his weight loss journey primarily. And what he ended up falling in love with was the business opportunity, and I kind of came at it from the exact opposite thing. My law practice was really struggling. I needed to make some money and make this work for my family. And what I found was this incredible group of people who I just love to death. And, I think that, there's a lot of different options for things that you can find here for sure. But, the community is a huge one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about, this is kind of just an interesting comment that you made earlier. I was just take some notes where you're talking. So you talk about motivation a little bit, and that it was almost your husband telling you that you couldn't do it was what motivated you. Do you generally find that that's kind of how you're motivated, or how do you stay motivated?
I mean, yeah, when he tells me that I can't do something, or that it's not going to work, or yeah, you're not going to make any money doing it. And I really, I had been doing it for a few weeks, and I felt like I found something I enjoyed, and I felt like I found something I could be good at. Because let's face it, I was a mom, for all those years. I was a stay-at-home mom. I'm a stepmom to his girls. So I had that mommyism, that was kind of my title, mom and wife. So I felt like this was actually giving me a different title, or I don't want to say a different purpose, because I love being a mom and a wife. But this actually gave me a different purpose outside of being a mom and a wife, to do something different, and to maybe do something to help others and be something different as well, and to be better. So yeah, when he told me I couldn't do it, I was like, well, then you gotta watch me do it. And so over the years, when we'd meet with our tax person, and he'd hear that my income had gone up like that, because, he'd see my checks come in, but he didn't really think much of it until we'd go to the tax person. He'd go, wow. Oh, like one year, I think my income went up like $44,000. And that's that was it. He was like, wow, wait a second. Wait, what are you doing? Your little side business, And I looked at him and I went, I told you I would do something with it, And so that's why I feel like when somebody tells you can't do something, don't listen to them. Don't listen to that negative voice in your head. And let's talk about personal development too for a minute. If you're not reading or listening to personal development every day, that negativity will get in your head, and it'll stay there, and it will kill you. So you have to be listening or reading something every day to get you out of that rut.
So what are you listening to or reading now?
Right now I have You're a Badass, or You Are Badass, or however you say it.
Yep.
And then I also, I'm listening to that 45-second business presentation that I know you guys have used that one before, right? The 45-second business presentation?
Yeah, not extensively. Tell me about it.
No?
I've heard about it.
It's that one where, it's kind of a little bit like Beachbody, but like you go, you find, actually, it's kind of like us. You find 5 people who are going to work the business strongly. You work with them, but you work with them 3 deep. So they sign up people, and then those people sign up people, and you help them with signing people up, but they don't do it on their own. Like, you help them. When I first signed up, my coach, she helped me with my first 5 people that I talked to. So I didn't have to go out and do it on my own, which I wish that my coaches would take my advice with that. So many of my coaches don't. I'm like, hey, I will do 3-way calls with you. If you don't live in this town with me, you're in a different state, which most of them are because of social media, I will do 3-way calls with you, and I will help you with talking to people, and I will help you with signing them up, because I know more about this business than you do. I love this analogy. Here's the analogy he uses. If you had a brand new Ferrari, would you let your best friend go out and drive your Ferrari?
No.
You wouldn't. So why would you let your brand new coach go out and talk to somebody about this business on their own? So we have to be the ones to help our new coaches talk to someone about the business. And so that's kind of that's what he talks about. And then he talks about the napkin presentation, and Don't get me started on the numbers because I don't know that yet. That would be something for you, Dave. You could talk about the numbers.
No, I hate talking about the numbers. I think it's true though. I think, early on it's, that's one of the things that really stands in people's way is I knew it stood in my way in particular. I just know that when I started the business, I felt like I needed to know everything before I could say anything. And I really felt that way, that it was like, I can't, and Monica would just be like, go talk to people about the business. And it was like, well, I can't because I don't know the business well enough to be able to talk to people about it. And that was one of the things she did with me. She's like, okay, well, go bring them to me and I'll talk to them about it. And yeah, over the years, we've done that too, where we've done 3-way calls with people and try to help people who are still getting to understand the business, how to do it, and so I'm going to have to check that out. I've had a lot of people talk about the 45-second business opportunity.
Business presentation.
Yeah.
45-second business presentation that will change your life. It's by Don Falia, Falia. And it's awesome. I'm listening to the audio. I have it playing like when I get ready in the morning or whatever, and I'm just kind of playing it over and over.
Yeah.
I really like it. But I have a couple of guys on my team that are like you. They're like, oh, but I need to know everything before I talk to someone. And I'm like, no, you don't. Just let me help you. Like, I will help you.
Yeah.
Coach for 6 months, so let me help you. Like, I can totally help you. But I don't know. They want to do it on their own, or they don't. I don't know. They just won't. They won't let me help them. So.
Yeah, I think that's in particular with guys. That's very, very true. Men have this ego thing that often gets in our way. It can push you to do a lot of really cool things, but can also really be a major obstacle. And I'm glad you mentioned personal development, because I think, when I've been doing these calls and swapping calls with a lot of the elite coaches, this is something that is just a universal topic and everybody ends up talking about somehow. And I just feel like, if as somebody who's watching this, if you can't connect those dots and you can't see that there is one thing that all of these people have in common, it's not their educational background. It's not their fitness background. It's not that they have some kind of a sales background. It's none of that stuff. It's just all of us do one of the same things, and that is really personal development. I know we're also really committed to fitness and nutrition, but the personal development thing is the one thread that runs through all of these calls and all of these people. You've got to be doing something. One of the things that we do with our Coach Basics group is we have them get Darren Hardy's Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, which, and I love the audio for that. It's like $6 or $7. It's 7 hours of audio for $7. And it is really good because it talks about all of the various disappointments. It talks about all those noisy voices that you're going to hear and all the people who are going to come to you and tell you, hey, you can't do this. This is not for you. It's going to fail, and everything else that I think all of us here, as we get going on the journey with this type of a business, because it is, it's a different thing, it's a different thing. It's not your normal business where, you enter into an agreement with somebody and the agreement is basically, hey, we'll pay you X amount of dollars for Y amount of work. And if you don't do Y amount of work, we'll just fire your ass and find somebody else to do it. That's not how this works. And this is a totally different arrangement. This is a deal where, your income is not limited. It's like you do Y, X is a variable. And sometimes if you do less work, it's going to go down. If you do more work, it's going to go up. It's just a different, really fundamental, different beast. And in order to really handle it and be good at it, you've got to be working on your brain and you got to get focused on your mind and you got to get your mind right. You got to get your head wrapped around things in the right way. And the way to really do that is with personal development. I don't just limit that to books and audio too. If you look at really the top people, they go to seminars as well. They go to events, not just Beachbody events, but, they do things like Tony Robbins. And I've done a lot of, different stuff with seminars. And there's all kinds of ways and avenues that you can go down that will help make you a stronger individual. But this is one of these things that everybody does. And you just can't, overlook that.
And also it takes time to build your income and build your business. Like you can't come in here in 2 months or 4 months and be like, well, I'm not making as much as you are. Well, no, you're not, because I've worked my business for 5 years and I've worked my butt off. Be like, you have to put your time in. So, you know, don't use the time thing with us, because you have to put your time in too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree with that. What I always tell people when that comes up is most of the people that I deal with are people who have lost weight. You know, that's kind of the most common thing that I deal with is people who have lost weight. And I just direct them right back to that. I go, look, you know, when you started whatever, P90X or whatever it was, remember the first month? Like, okay, that's what your first year in this business is going to look like.
Yes.
It's going to take time to click, and it's going to take time to get good at it. You have to be consistent. You know, going back to what we talked about earlier, you've got to be consistent. And, you know, our business, we talked about this actually before we started the recording, but, you know, in our business, we've never recruited on a massive level, you know, 10, 15, 20 people a month. It's just been 2 or 3 a month, but we've been doing it since 2007, you know, and that's what has resulted in, you know, a 7-figure business for us. It's just consistent recruiting of a few people every month, and then working with those people who really want to run, you know, and spending your time focused on those people. So, okay, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but, you know, kind of what else, do you have any other gems for us, or what else, you know, anything else you want to share in particular?
Oh my gosh. Just like what you're saying, I mean, like what do they say? Work with the willing, work with the ones who want to run with you. And, you know, if they're not talking to you or they're not answering you back, like don't waste your time. Don't waste your breath. If they're going to want to come back to you, they will. Just keep doing what you're doing and be consistent. Get on social media. Social media is big. That is how I built 90% of my business. And I believe in social media 100%. Learn, like Dave said, learn everything that you can about your business. Like he said, go to other seminars if you want. Learn everything you can so that you can be a better leader, a better person, a better spouse, a better friend, all of the above. That's it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I'm looking forward to jumping on your call. I think, the 21st? Is that what we said?
I
don't remember. I've got it on my calendar. But if it's not on my calendar, it's not real. Nothing is real until it's on my calendar, which is maybe another piece of advice. If you're not using a calendar, you're making a huge mistake, because I don't need to know what day that is, because in my calendar, I don't have to hold that information anymore, because it's where I need it, which is in my calendar. But anyway, I'm looking forward to jumping on, doing your call, and getting to speak to your people. It's been really nice to have you on. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your Monday to join us and talk to us a little bit about your journey with this incredible business we call Team Beachbody.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
For sure.
Okay. See you next month.
Great.
All right.